In the 12th century, a caravan was less a line of travellers and more a moving treasury, a fragile lifeline stretching across emptiness. Some desert crossings could last 60 days and cover about 1,500 kilometers, roughly the same as walking from Paris to Rome with no paved roads, no fresh rivers, only sand and sky. Each camel bore around 150 kilograms of silk, salt, glass, or pepper, groaning beneath the weight. Merchants risked fortunes for the chance of profit in distant markets, while pilgrims risked their lives for faith. Yet the desert cared for neither wealth nor prayer. Its toll was measured in cracked lips, fevered nights, and the silence of those left behind in the dunes. By day the desert burned like a furnace. The sun could drive the temperature above 40–45 degrees Celsius, hot enough to warp wood and blister skin beneath a turban. Metal buckles scorched to the touch. Water skins grew warm as soup, and the horizon wavered in the heat. Yet when night fell, the furnace turned to ice. Temperatures dropped close to 5 degrees Celsius, sometimes lower, and the same men who baked beneath the sun now shivered under wool cloaks, teeth chattering as they huddled beside camels for warmth. It was this endless swing from fire to frost that carved the body hollow, testing endurance as fiercely as hunger or thirst. Yet the desert held far more than heat. Bandits lurked behind dunes, waiting for stragglers, for broken wheels, for moments when guards looked the wrong way. Venomous snakes and scorpions stirred at dusk. One sting could swell a limb or stop a heart. Sandstorms rose without warning, walls of grit that clawed at eyes and lungs, erasing footprints and swallowing shouts. At noon the sun burned so fiercely that leather straps scalded the palms. At night, frost crept into blankets, cutting through bone, leaving travellers shivering until dawn. Water, always water, was the greatest fear. Miss an oasis, and the difference between survival and collapse narrowed to a skin of stale liquid, tasting of goat and dust. Wells marked on old maps could fail, their depths dry when most needed. Arab chroniclers carefully listed the distances, but drought or error meant death. Accounts from merchants described men burying companions at dawn, pressing onward by midday, their grief muted by the grind of survival. No one could halt. The desert did not forgive delays. If you enjoy these stories, a like or a gentle subscription means the world. It keeps these long journeys alive. Now settle deeper into your blankets. Let your breath slow, and together we'll slip into the journey together. Now you are among them. The caravan stretches forward, a ribbon of hooves and sandals pressed into shifting ground. 60 days lie ahead where fortune and death walk side by side. You tighten your cloak against the dawn's bite, fingers brushing rough wool. Dust already coats your tongue. Behind you loom the city gates. Stone walls streaked with soot, guards shifting sleepily on their spears. Inside there is bread, shade, the cool trickle of wells. Ahead lies only dunes. The camels stir, restless, bells jangling at their necks, leather straps creaking under weight. Men mutter in low voices, adjusting loads of cloth and jars. A boy runs past, urging the lead beast forward with a sharp cry. The caravan begins to move. The gates shrink behind you. The desert swells before you. The first hours are almost gentle. The sky is pale, the air cool, sand crunches underfoot in steady rhythm, matched by the groan of camels and the coughs of men. Your steps fall into pace, the monotony lulling thought. But by mid-morning the sun rises high, heat rolling like fire from the sky. Fabric clings to your skin, sweat dripping into your mouth until even that tastes of salt. You sip from your water skin, careful, only a mouthful, and even that feels wasteful. The liquid is already warm, tinged with leather. Still, it is life. Around you the caravan finds rhythm. A trader hums a low tune, joined by another. until their voices mingle with the sway of bells. Sand shimmers ahead, mirages trembling like distant pools. You blink, knowing they are false, yet still your body longs toward them. Flies cling to your face, you wave them away, but they return, stubborn as thirst. At noon, the order comes to halt. Camels kneel, loads creaking. You collapse into their shade, the ground beneath you hot as iron. Someone tosses you a date, dry, tough, yet sweet at its heart. You chew slowly, savoring the brief surge of sugar. Around you, others do the same, their jaws working in silence. Overhead, the sky is white, a pitiless dome. Stories whisper through memory. Some travelers wrote of seashells found buried in dunes, relics of a time when these sands were seabeds. You wonder if that could be true, or simply tales to explain the waves of sand rolling endlessly into the horizon. The desert feels eternal, without beginning or end, its silence broken only by bells and the rasp of wind. The signal comes again, sharp and sudden. The caravan stirs. You rise, joints aching, and follow. Afternoon stretches long, each step heavier. Heat presses against you, a weight that slows thought. Dust coats your throat until each breath rasps. Still, the line of men and beasts moves forward, bound by necessity. Dusk comes at last. Shadows lengthen, the sun sinking into the horizon, painting the dunes in bruised purple and gold. Relief spreads through the caravan as fires spark to life. You sit near one, legs crossed, hands raw, a pot of tea brews, steam curling upward with the scent of bitter herbs. You cradle the cup, warmth seeping into your fingers. Around you, men share low words, laughter brittle but real. For a moment, danger feels distant. Night thickens, stars emerge, sharp, countless, overwhelming. They blaze so brightly it seems they press closer to the earth. A map written across the sky. A guide lifts his hand, tracing routes in constellations, reminding the caravan which way to turn at dawn. You try to follow, but the stars blur, countless, dizzying. Still you nod, as if you understand. At last you lie down. The sand beneath you is cold, its grains shifting beneath your weight. You pull your cloak tight, breath fogging the fabric. Around you camels kneel, their groans low and human-like. Bells clink once, then fall silent. Somewhere in the dark a man coughs, another murmurs a prayer. The desert breathes around you, vast and endless. Your eyes close. The stars remain burning steady above. The world feels immense, merciless, yet strangely still. You drift into uneasy sleep, knowing this is only the first night of many. Dawn comes without kindness. The first sensation is cold, your breath puffing in the half-light, fabric stiff with dew. The sand beneath you has shifted in the night, little ridges pressed into your cheek, your back, your palms. The stars are fading, but a pale silver lingers above, thin as smoke. A bell clangs once, and camels begin to rise. You hear the groan of their joints, the shuffle of men stretching stiff legs. Someone coughs harshly, spitting into the sand. Another murmurs a prayer. The camp begins to stir as though pulled by a single invisible thread. You push yourself upright, cloak wrapped tight. You stamp your feet to bring warmth into your toes. Your body aches from yesterday's march, muscles stiff from unending steps. But there is no pause. Already loads are being retied. Sacks of salt, bolts of cloth, clay jars of oil. A guard sharpens a blade against a whetstone, the rasping sound cutting through the cool air. The desert has given you a night of uneasy rest, and now it demands movement again. Before leaving, the men kneel for prayer. The rhythm of their voices hums low across the camp, a tide of syllables rising with the dawn. The camels grunt, bells chime, and you feel the pull of the road ahead. When the sun edges over the horizon, there is no time for hesitation. The line begins to move. The first hours are steady, the cool of dawn clings, and you walk with a rhythm your body is beginning to learn. Foot, breath, sway, bell. The sound becomes hypnotic, pulling you forward even as thought drifts elsewhere. Ahead, the dunes roll like waves of frozen fire, ridges sharp in the morning light. Behind you, the city is already a memory. By mid-morning, the sun is stronger. Heat presses against your back, spreading quickly until every breath feels thick. Cloaks loosen, turbans tighten around faces, sand glints with cruel brilliance. 1,000 tiny mirrors reflecting the sun into your eyes. You narrow your gaze, but the brightness still burns. Sweat trickles down your spine, dampening fabric. Your mouth is already dry. A cry ripples through the line. One of the camels balks, legs folding without warning. Its load spills, clay jars smashing into shards. The caravan halts with a ripple of shouts. Men gather, voices sharp. The beast groans, sides heaving, foam at its lips. You watch as a whip cracks, then another. But the camel will not rise. Its knees sink deeper into sand, chest heaving. The merchants argue. Should they abandon the beast and the cargo, or lighten the load and force it onward? In the end, profit wins. Some jars are left behind, buried hastily in sand, a marker scratched into the dune. The caravan must move. The animal trembling is dragged upright, stumbling as the line lurches forward again. You walk on, unsettled. The desert does not need days to claim its price, it begins at once, testing every weakness. By noon the heat is unbearable. The air itself feels solid, pressing down with weight. Sweat dries before it can cool you, leaving only salt crusting your lips. Your tongue sticks to the roof of your mouth. Around you, men pull their scarves tighter, faces hidden against the glare. Camels groan with each step, saliva thick and stringing from their mouths. The caravan halts at a patch of ground marked by a few brittle shrubs. There is no shade, only a pause. You collapse into the sand, chest heaving, eyes closed against the brightness. Someone passes dates, their skins wrinkled, flesh sticky. You chew slowly, sugar easing the fatigue. Another man shares a scrap of dried meat, its fibers tough, taste sharp with salt. Small mercies in the middle of nothing. Stories whisper again, accounts of travellers caught in sandstorms, entire caravans lost when wind rose like a wall, swallowing tents, animals, voices. One chronicle from Baghdad speaks of finding only skeletons weeks later, half buried, bells still clinging to their necks. Whether every tale is true or not, you cannot know, but as you sit with dust clinging to your skin, the possibility feels too real. The march resumes. Afternoon is endless. Each step is heavier, each breath shallower. Mirages shimmer in the distance. Pools of water, lines of trees, shaded courtyards. You know they are false, yet still you yearn for them. Men mutter, heads bent low. A guard sings under his breath, the rhythm steady, pulling others into the chant. The sound is dull, repetitive, but it fills the silence, gives the steps a beat to follow. At last the sun dips low. The sky softens, gold bleeding into violet. Relief spreads across the line. Fires will come soon and rest. But the desert gives no mercy so easily. A wind rises, faint at first, then stronger. Sand lifts into the air, stinging your cheeks. Scarves are pulled tight, camels pressed forward. The horizon blurs, edges dissolving. Voices grow urgent. The storm comes fast. Sand whirls in sheets, lashing like whips against your skin. You pull fabric over your mouth, eyes narrowed. Every step an effort. The air is thick with grit, choking. Bells clang wildly, lost in the howl of wind. You stumble, grabbing at a camel's flank to stay upright. The line fractures, men vanish into the storm. Only shapes in the swirling dark. Shouts ring, muffled, directionless. Minutes stretch, endless. Your lungs burn with dust. Your throat roar. Every blink grinds sand against your eyes. You cling to the beast beside you, moving because stopping means burial. Then, as suddenly as it rose, the storm begins to ease. The air clears by degrees, the wind falling into ragged gusts. Shapes reappear, men staggering, camels groaning, loads sagging. The caravan regroups slowly, shaken. A count is made. One man is missing. His name is called into the fading storm. No answer comes. The line must move. Night arrives heavy. The air chills quickly, wrapping cold fingers around you. Fires spark again. Small islands. You wake to a hand on your shoulder. The air feels colder than before, biting against your cheeks. The fire has long since turned to ash, leaving only a faint red glow beneath the sand. Around you, men stir in silence, their shapes cloaked, faces hidden. Bells chime softly as camels begin to rise, their long necks reaching into the grey dawn. You rub your eyes, dust falling from your lashes, your throat dry as bone. Another day begins. The camp quickly comes apart. Loads are retied, jars adjusted, bolts of cloth bound again. Your body fights against movement, legs stiff, back sore, but you force yourself to stand. There is no other choice. The desert doesn't wait. You chew a date offered by a fellow traveller, its sweetness dulled by exhaustion. He offers you a tired smile, then adjusts his beast's rope. Kindness here shows in small gestures, shared food, or a hand helping lift a burden. The march resumes. Morning light spills across dunes, sharp and clean. The rhythm returns, foot, breath, bell. The sound weaves into your bones until it feels like your own pulse. The desert stretches endless, horizon unbroken, sky vast. You glance behind once already, the place you slept is gone, erased by wind. There is no trace you were ever there. By mid-morning, hunger begins to gnaw. The date has long since vanished, leaving emptiness in its place. Stomachs growl audibly around you. Though no one complains, complaints are wasted air. Instead, you focus on the chant rising from the guards again, a low hum that steadies the pace. The camels sway in rhythm, their groans joining the sound until it becomes almost like music. But fatigue creeps in. Your steps drag, sand slipping underfoot. Every muscle feels heavy, as though the desert itself presses down. Your eyes blur with heat, sweat stinging. You dream of bread, soft, warm, fresh from the city ovens. But the thought is almost cruel. Here, bread is a hard biscuit, teeth aching as you bite. Here, water is never enough. Here, comfort is a memory fading fast. A shout breaks the monotony. You look ahead. The line stirs, someone has collapsed. A man lies in the sand, limbs slack. Two others crouch beside him, pressing water to his lips. He stirs weakly, coughing, then is pulled upright. His face is pale beneath the dust. Eyes glazed, the caravan pauses only a moment before moving again. To stop longer would mean greater danger. He stumbles, supported on either side, his load carried by another. This is how survival works together, or not at all. By noon the heat is merciless. The sun burns without cloud or mercy. Sand radiates back every ray, turning the world into a furnace. Your lips split, bleeding when you lick them. Around you men shield their faces. But there is no true escape. The air tastes of salt and dust. The thirst is constant now. A presence inside your chest. When you drink, the water is hot, thick with the taste of skin and leather. Still, it eases the ache for a moment. The caravan halts briefly. Camels kneel, groaning, loads sagging. You sink into the shade of one beast, the smell of sweat and dung thick, but shade nonetheless. A scrap of dried meat is passed again, tough, stringy salt clinging to your tongue. You chew slowly, grateful even for this. Across from you, a merchant closes his eyes, lips moving in silent prayer. Another sketches patterns in the sand, restless hands needing motion. Everyone waits for the signal. When it comes, you rise with effort. Your legs are wooden, but they move. Afternoon stretches long, footsteps blending into one endless line. The desert hums with silence, broken only by bells and breath. Time loses meaning. Minutes, hours, all dissolve into the act of walking. Then, a sound. Low at first, then clearer voices ahead. You squint, and there, on the horizon, palms shimmer, an oasis. Relief surges through the caravan. Pace quickens, though fatigue claws every step. The promise of water pulls you forward, closer until at last the first trees rise tall and real. You enter shade, blessed shade. The air is cooler here, damp with the scent of green. Water glints in the pool, dark and calm. Men rush to kneel, cupping hands, filling skins. You follow, plunging your face into the liquid. It is warm but sweet, pure. You drink greedily until your chest aches. Then again, only when breath fails do you stop, water dripping from your chin. Never has anything tasted so rich. Camels drink deeply, groaning in satisfaction. Children from a nearby settlement appear, carrying baskets of figs, their eyes wide at the sight of the caravan. Merchants barter quickly, exchanging glass beads for fruit, spices for grain. The air hums with chatter, laughter even, as men eat with both hands. For a moment the desert feels far away. But the respite is short. Elders remind the caravan that oases can be dangerous too. Raiders sometimes watch these places, waiting for travelers to drop their guard. Guards tighten grips on blades. Eyes scan the edges of palms, the ridges of sand beyond. Danger is never gone, it only hides. The sun begins to lower. Loads are retied. Water skins are filled to bursting. Every drop precious. The caravan moves again, stepping from shade back into the vastness. Behind, the oasis fades, swallowed by distance until it is only memory. Ahead lies more desert, endless as before. Night falls heavy. Fires glow once more. Men huddled close. The air is colder than the night before, the wind sharper. You sip tea, bitter, fragrant with herbs. It warms your throat, chases dust from lungs. Around you, voices share stories again. One man speaks of home, of children waiting, another of riches he hopes to claim, another of fear he cannot shake, of storms that haunt his dreams. You listen, silent. The stars burn overhead, countless, eternal. They seem both guide and judge, watching every step. You lie back, cloak tight, sand cold beneath you. Bells clink softly as camels settle. The desert hums with wind, the only lullaby you will hear. To sleep comes slowly. Hunger stirs still, thirst lingers, fear remains. Yet there is also solidarity, the warmth of men close, the sound of breath around you, the rhythm of survival shared. In this there is comfort. Your eyes close. Tomorrow will come too soon. The desert at night is never silent. You lie half awake, cloak pulled high, listening. The stars burn sharp above, so many they feel almost heavy, pressing down on your chest. Around you, men breathe in shallow rhythms, some snoring softly, others tossing against the cold. Camels murmur, shifting their weight, bells clinking with faint metallic sighs. The wind brushes across the dunes, carrying the hiss of sand in motion. But beneath all this, there are other sounds, softer, sharper. A twig snapping, though there are no trees. A camel snorting uneasily, stamping its foot. A guard whispers to another, blades glinting faintly in the starlight. Raiders. The thought flickers through the camp like lightning. Everyone knows these shadows stalk the routes, waiting for exhaustion to dull your senses, waiting for the line between vigilance and sleep to blur. A man near you tightens his grip on a short spear, knuckles pale. Another rolls onto his side, cloak wrapped tight, pretending not to notice. This is the way of caravans. Fear is constant, unspoken, carried like another pack upon the shoulders. You shift, heart pounding, but remain still. If they come fast. The elders say raiders prefer dawn or deep night, when firelight is low. They strike, steal, vanish. Some caravans never recover, and yet you must sleep, for without it you cannot walk tomorrow. The balance between fear and fatigue is as delicate as water in a cracked skin. A sudden gust rattles the tents. Sand trickles against your face. You hold your breath. Somewhere in the distance, a horse whinnies, a sound too sharp, too alien to belong to your caravan. Murmurs rise, a few men jolting upright, eyes searching the dunes, but nothing comes. Perhaps it was a memory carried on the wind, or perhaps shadows testing your resolve. No attack falls, no riders charge. Slowly, uneasily, the camp settles again. At last, exhaustion wins. Your eyes close, dreams muddled with whispers, steel, hoofbeats. Dawn breaks pale and cold. The fires are ash again, the sky a wash of grey and rose. No attack came, or if it did, the guards kept it at bay. You rise stiff, body aching, sand clinging to your cloak. A scrap of bread is passed, hard, stale, chewing like stone, but you accept it, teeth aching against its crust. A swallow of water, warm and leathery, follows. The morning routine is quick. Packs tied, ropes checked, beasts coaxed to their feet. Then the march resumes. The morning is brisk, cooler than days before. Wind cuts against your cheeks, carrying grit that rasps in your teeth. Scarves are pulled tight, eyes narrowed. The caravan moves in silence, each man wrapped in his own fatigue. The dunes rise higher here, slopes steep, steps dragging. You lean forward, each climb an effort, each descent a stumble. Camels groan under their loads, sliding in the sand, handlers shouting to steady them. The sun climbs. With every hour the cold of dawn burns away, replaced by a heat that grows merciless. By midday the wind dies, leaving the air still, thick, sweat beads on your forehead, trickles down your spine, then evaporates too fast to cool. You lick your lips, only to taste blood from cracks at the corners. A man beside you mutters prayers, words lost in the roar of silence. Another stumbles, catches himself, curses softly. The desert presses on all of you, relentless. At one point, the line pauses to let camels drink from a skin shared between them. The sight is almost painful. The animals groaning, sucking greedily, their eyes rolling white. A guard slaps one's flank to move it along. Another curses as water spills into the sand. Nothing is more precious. A small lizard scurries across the path, its body pale, nearly invisible. It darts from shadow to shadow, vanishing into the sand. Some say creatures like this are omens, that even the smallest life here survives through cunning, where men fail by force. You watch it disappear, wondering which fate will be yours. The caravan halts at a barren stretch, nothing but sand and stone. Camels kneel, legs folding with weary groans. You sit in their shadow, breathing hard. A date is passed, its sweetness sharp. Someone laughs softly, a brief crack in the silence. It spreads, another chuckle, another smile. For a moment hardship lightens, then the bell clangs again, and the march resumes. Afternoon stretches long. Mirages shimmer once more, blue pools flickering at the edges of vision. Your body longs toward them even as your mind knows better. The desert toys with you, offering illusions where none exist. You keep walking, step after step, rhythm etched into your bones. Suddenly, A shout. The line stirs again, movement on the horizon. Dark shapes crest a dune. Riders on swift horses. Hearts race. Hands reach for blades. Guards step forward. Voices sharp. Camels are drawn closer. Merchants push themselves into the center of the formation. You feel the pulse in your throat. A hammering fear. But as the riders draw closer, tension breaks. They are not raiders, but another small caravan, heading the opposite way. The two lines approach cautiously, men scanning faces, weighing intentions. Then greetings are exchanged, cautious but warm. Goods are inspected. Small trades made, dates for salt, spices for cloth. Stories are shared quickly. News of distant cities, warnings of storms, whispers of bandits. You learn that a caravan a week ahead lost 2 camels to sudden collapse, that another found a well dry. Knowledge is as precious as gold here. A traveller with a scar across his face holds up a worn coin, Byzantine, gleaming faintly even in dust. He laughs, says he took it in trade at Antioch, far to the west. The men around you marvel at its detail, the foreign emperor's profile etched sharp. For a moment the desert seems smaller, connected to worlds beyond. After a time, farewells are made, and the lines part. You watch the riders vanish into distance, wondering if you will ever see them again, alive or at all. The horizon swallows them quickly. Your own caravan trudges forward, slower now but still bound by necessity. Evening comes. The sky softens. Air cooling. Fires spark once more. Small islands of light. You sit close, tea in hand, warmth seeping into cold fingers. Around you, men share stories of home, voices low, eyes far away. One speaks of his son learning letters in Baghdad. The boy's hands ink-stained. Another of a wife weaving cloth, waiting by the city gates. You listen, silent, your own thoughts drifting to comforts lost. Soft bread, clear water, shade that does not vanish. A merchant beside you pulls a bundle from his pack, a strip of silk, impossibly fine, shimmering even in the dim light. He runs it between his fingers, eyes soft. He says it will fetch a fortune in Cairo, that perhaps he will buy a house, perhaps take a second wife. Others nod, imagining their own futures in distant markets. For a while the desert feels like a mere passage, a corridor between dreams. But then the wind shifts. A howl rises across the dunes. Sharp and sudden, flames whip in the gust. Shadows leap. Guards rise, scanning the dark. Somewhere far off, a sound hooves, or perhaps only imagination. Voices hush. Everyone listens. Nothing comes. The night settles again. Still unease lingers. Men sleep lightly, hands near blades, ears tuned to every rustle. You lie down, cloak wrapped tight, sand cold beneath you. Bells clink softly as camels settle, their groans low. The stars burn overhead, endless, eternal, indifferent. The desert hums with wind, the only lullaby you will hear. Sleep takes you slowly, wrapped in exhaustion, lulled by the rhythm of survival. Tomorrow, you know, will ask for more. The desert gives nothing freely, yet in its silence, small mercies take on the weight of miracles. You wake stiff and sore, throat raw from the night wind. Your cloak is crusted with sand, each fold gritty, each seam scratching against your skin. The fires are long gone to ash, the air sharp with cold, yet as you rise there is warmth, not from the sun, not yet, but from the circle of men who stir beside you, faces hollow with fatigue, yet alive. Survival itself feels like a victory. Bread is passed flat and dry, breaking with a brittle snap. You chew slowly, forcing it down with a swallow of hot, bitter tea, boiled from herbs gathered at the last oasis. The taste is sharp, almost medicinal, but it clears your throat, washes grit from your tongue. A merchant across from you sighs with relief, eyes closing briefly as he drinks. Another mutters a joke, dry as the bread itself, and a few tired chuckles answer him. Camels groan as they rise. bells chiming against the quiet, packs are lifted, ropes tugged tight, guards tighten their belts, blades glinting pale in the weak dawn. The caravan begins to move, first in a shuffle, then in steady rhythm. The sound of feet in sand, the creak of leather, the cough of dust-filled lungs, all blending into the strange music of the desert. The morning is cool, almost kind. You feel the chill in your bones, but after days of heat, the bite of air feels almost merciful. The dunes rise ahead, tall and wind-carved, their ridges sharp as blades against the sky. You climb slowly, feet slipping, sand giving way. Each step demands effort, muscles straining, breath short, yet you climb because there is no choice. At the crest, the world spreads endless again, ridges upon ridges, dunes rolling like waves frozen in mid-motion. The horizon shimmers, blurred by distance. You pause, chest heaving, then follow as the line descends. Sand slides beneath your feet, pulling you down too quickly. You stumble, steady yourself against the rope of a passing camel. The beast grunts, ears flicking but keeps moving. Hours pass. The sun climbs higher, warmth seeping into the air, then building, pressing, burning, cloaks loosen. Scarves pull tighter across faces, sweat beads on brows, dripping, evaporating before it can cool. The desert begins its slow assault again. A murmur stirs the line. Word passes back, a man has fallen behind. You glance over your shoulder, see him stumbling, knees buckling. Two others rush to his side, dragging him forward. He resists, insisting he can walk, but his legs say otherwise. At last his load is taken by another, his arms slung across shoulders. Together they move. Solidarity is survival. Alone, no one endures. By midday, hunger gnaws again. You chew another date, sticky and sweet, the sugar clinging to your tongue, around you. Others do the same, jaws working slowly, deliberately. Each bite is rationed, each piece of food carried with care. In the desert, waste is unthinkable. Every crumb has weight. The caravan halts briefly. Camels kneel. Men collapse into their shade. A few words are exchanged. Tired, sparse. Then someone begins a song, low and steady. Another joins, then another, until the sound threads through the group. The melody is simple, little more than a chant, but it carries rhythm, and with rhythm comes strength. Your own lips move before you realize, voice blending with theirs. The desert listens, indifferent, but for you the sound pushes back against silence. Afternoon stretches. The sun is merciless, heat radiating from the sand, turning the world into a furnace. You lick your lips, tasting salt and blood. Water is past, only a swallow, but even that soothes. The skins grow lighter with each stop, and worry hums at the edge of thought. Wells lie ahead, the guides say, but memory and maps are fragile things. A dry well could mean disaster. A dust devil spins across the horizon, thin and sharp, twisting sand high into the air. It dances briefly, then collapses, leaving only shimmering heat. A guard spits into the sand, muttering a curse. You wonder if it is omen or nothing at all. Toward evening, the land changes. Low ridges of stone break the monotony, jagged teeth rising from sand. The caravan winds between them, shadows stretching long. The air cools, relief spreading through weary bodies. At last the signal is given to halt. Fires spark quickly, smoke curling into dusk. You sit with others, legs folded, cloak pulled tight. Food is shared, bread, meat, fruit dried to leather. You chew in silence, listening to the crackle of flame, the murmur of voices. Then the stories begin. A merchant speaks first, his voice low, eyes fixed on the fire. He tells of a crossing years ago when a storm buried half the camp in a single night. Men dug with bare hands, pulling companions from suffocating sand. Some lived, some did not. He pauses, drinks tea, then falls silent. Another speaks, younger, eager to fill the quiet. He tells of markets in Cairo, where spices fill the air so thick you taste them with each breath, where gold gleams in piles, where silk drapes walls like water. His words paint pictures brighter than the firelight, and for a moment the men around you smile, eyes far away. A guard interrupts with his own tale, of raiders who struck without warning, swift and silent, stealing beasts and goods. His blade rests across his knees as he speaks, fingers brushing the hilt. His story ends with silence, men shifting uneasily. Then laughter breaks it. A pilgrim shares a joke, dry but welcome. The group chuckles, tension easing. Stories turn lighter, tales of foolish travellers, of clumsy camels, of meals gone wrong. The fire crackles, shadows dance, and for a brief while the desert feels almost kind. But kindness is fragile. A sound rises on the wind, hoofbeats, faint, distant. The laughter falters, voices hush. Men glance to the guards, who rise swiftly, eyes scanning the dark. Swords gleam, spears lifted. The fire pops loudly, startling you. The night holds its breath. Minutes pass. The sound fades. Perhaps only imagination. Perhaps not. The guards lower their weapons, but unease lingers. Conversation does not return. The desert reminds you again. No comfort lasts long. You lie down at last. Cloak wrapped tight. The sand is cold, but fatigue is heavier. Around you, men shift, settle, breathe. Camels groan. Bells clink faintly. The stars blaze once more. Endless, eternal, indifferent. Sleep comes slowly, shaped by hunger, thirst, and fear. Yet within the circle of fire, among men who share food and stories, there is also warmth. Solidarity endures. The desert takes much, but it has not taken you, at least. Not tonight. The desert shows no pity for the weak. You wake with a start to the sound of retching. A man crouches near the dying embers of the fire, body heaving, his face grey even in the pale light. Others rise quickly, some offering water, some looking away. Sickness here is more than a misfortune. It is a burden that slows the caravan, a danger that ripples through every step. The man's companion supports him, murmuring softly. He is given a sip from a skin. Only a sip. Water cannot be spared. His lips tremble as he swallows, his eyes closing with exhaustion. He is not alone. Already, whispers spread that another man coughed blood the night before, and a third has sores on his feet so deep they bleed with every step. Illness and injury creep quietly, but once they take root, they spread like fire through dry grass. You rise slowly, joints stiff, throat aching. The bread is passed again, stale and brittle, and you chew without appetite. Hunger and thirst are constants now, companions as steady as the camels. A swallow of tea clears some of the dust, but not enough. You glance at the sick man once more. He struggles to his feet, supported by his companion. His load will be carried by another. Survival here is collective, yet every extra burden makes the journey heavier for all. The caravan moves. Bells chime, hooves press into sand, and another day begins. Morning air is cool, almost gentle. The dunes roll endlessly, their ridges curved like waves. You fall into rhythm, step, breath, bell, groan. The sound weaves into your bones, hypnotic, but beneath it lies unease. Water is running low. The skins grow lighter each day, their leather softening, collapsing inward. Guides promise an oasis ahead, but their voices carry doubt. Wells shift, dry, vanish. The desert changes faster than memory. By mid-morning, the sun grows harsher, heat presses down, relentless. Sweat runs freely, evaporating before it can cool. Lips crack, eyes burn. A camel stumbles, its knees folding. Load spilling, shouts rise, ropes pulled tight. The beast forced upright. It lurches forward, but you hear the tremor in its breath, the weakness in its steps. Not every animal will survive this march. A man mutters of quicksand. The word spreads, sharp, uneasy. You glance at the ground, sand shifting, sliding underfoot. Stories abound of men swallowed whole, beasts vanishing without trace. Some say quicksand is rare, more myth than truth. Others swear they have seen it claim lives. The uncertainty itself is enough to weigh on you, each step tentative, each dune suspect. At midday the caravan halts. The heat is unbearable, air shimmering with mirages. Camels kneel, men collapse into their shade. Bread is broken, dates chewed, water rationed. You sip carefully, only a mouthful. Still your throat screams for more. Conversation stirs among the men. One swears he saw vultures circling far ahead. Another claims the birds follow caravans, waiting for the weakest to fall. The thought lingers like a shadow. You glance upward, and yes, dark shapes wheel against the sky, distant, patient. Afternoon stretches long. Feet drag, sand burns. Voices fade into silence. Only breath and bells remaining. The chant that once carried you forward is gone. Too much energy wasted on words. You walk in silence, eyes on the endless dunes. Then, a cry. The sick man from morning collapses. His companion kneels beside him, shouting for help. The line halts briefly. Men gathering, unsure. He breathes shallowly, eyes glassy. A few drops of water are pressed to his lips, but his body does not respond. After a moment, silence falls heavy. The caravan cannot stop. A shallow grave is dug quickly, hands moving with urgency. Sand poured, prayers murmured, a name spoken once, then silence. His companion weeps softly, but even he is urged to move. The desert does not wait. Within minutes the line stretches forward again, leaving only a mound of sand, soon to be erased by wind. You walk on, shaken. The desert claims its due, and always faster than you imagine. By late afternoon the horizon changes. Palms shimmer in the distance. Faint but real. The word spreads. Oasis. Energy surges. Pace quickens despite exhaustion. You feel your body lurch forward, pulled by the promise of water. The sun sinks lower, shadows stretching, but still you walk, each step desperate. At last the palms rise close. Water glints dark, calm, blessed. Men rush forward, kneeling, plunging faces into the pool. You follow, drinking deep, water sweet and cool against parched throat. Relief floods you, so strong it feels like rebirth. You drink again and again until breath fails. Around you laughter rises, voices bright. Camels groan with pleasure as they drink deeply, tongues lapping noisily. But the relief is not pure. The guide's caution: never drink too much too quickly, or sickness follows. Already, one man coughs violently, water spilling from his lips. Another clutches his stomach, doubled over, moderation even in abundance. The desert allows no careless joy. Merchants spread blankets, laying out goods to trade with locals, beads, spices, cloth. In return they gather figs, grain, herbs. A boy from the nearby village brings honey, thick and golden. Men marvel, dipping fingers, tasting sweetness long forgotten. For a moment the caravan is alive with chatter, laughter, bargaining. The oasis hums with life, a fleeting reprieve. Night falls within the palms. Fires crackle, smoke curling through leaves. You sit with others, sipping tea, listening. Stories spill easily now. Voices animated. One man tells of Damascus, its markets vast, colours dazzling. Another of Samarkand, its domes gleaming like jewels. The names themselves feel rich, promises of a world beyond sand. But whispers of danger creep in too. A trader speaks of raiders who struck an oasis farther east, killing men in their sleep. Another warns of poisoned wells, left by enemies to cripple caravans. The firelight flickers, shadows long, unease lingering even in comfort. You lie down beneath palms, cloak wrapped tight. The ground is softer here, shaded, cooler, yet sleep is not simple. Dreams twist with images of sand swallowing men, of water turning bitter, of vultures circling. The desert follows even into rest. Dawn comes with the sound of bells. The oasis is behind you again, fading into distance. Skins are filled, beasts loaded, steps resumed, relief lingers, but so does unease. How many more days until the next water? How many more will fall? The desert does not answer. It only stretches forward, vast and unbroken. The desert has a way of choosing its moments. By the time dusk arrives, the caravan is weary but content. Water skins are heavier from the oasis, bellies fuller than usual. Around the fires, voices are stronger, hands animated as men trade jokes and stories. For the first time in days, you feel a flicker of something like ease. The palms of the last oasis still cling in memory, their shade a reminder that the desert, though merciless, is not without islands of grace. But grace never lasts long. The first sign is the wind. It rises slowly, playful at first. Just a tug at cloaks, a ripple in the flames. Men glance up but continue speaking, convinced it will pass. Yet the gusts grow stronger, swirling sand at your ankles, lifting sparks from the fire. Camels groan uneasily, bells clinking with nervous rhythm. The sky above remains clear, but the horizon darkens, a faint haze that thickens with every heartbeat. Storm, a guard mutters. His voice is flat, resigned. The word spreads quickly. Fires are smothered, loads retied. Men pull scarves over mouths, eyes wide. Camels are forced to kneel, their legs bound to keep them steady. You clutch your cloak tight as the first wave hits, a wall of sand rushing like water, lashing skin raw, filling ears and nostrils. The air itself becomes dust, choking, blinding. You cannot see your own hands. Shouts rise, muffled, desperate. A man stumbles into you, clutching blindly, then vanishes into the swirl. You drop to your knees, pressing close to a camel's side, the beast trembling. Its body is heat against your own, its groans almost human. Sand scours your face, your arms, even through fabric. Your throat burns, lungs screaming with every breath. Time stretches into terror. Minutes. Hours. You cannot tell. The storm howls without pause. A beast devouring everything. You hear the crack of wood, the crash of something heavy. Cargo lost, perhaps smashed beyond saving. Someone screams, a sound swallowed instantly by the wind. You cling to the camel, eyes closed, body shaking. Thoughts scatter like grains of sand. Only survival remains. Breath, heartbeat, grip. At last, the storm begins to weaken. The roar fades to a hiss, the wall of grit thinning. You open your eyes cautiously. Shapes emerge, men slumped, cloaks shredded, camels half buried, loads scattered. The camp is a ruin. Fires gone, tents shredded, food half lost beneath drifts. Sand has swallowed half the night. A count is taken. Several men are missing. Their names are called, voices hoarse, but no answers return. One camel lies dead, throat twisted by rope, its load crushed beside it. Another animal limps badly, its knee swollen. Goods are lost, spices, grain, a bundle of glass shattered beyond use. The air hangs heavy with grief and silence. Yet even in ruin, kindness flickers. One man kneels beside another, binding a wound with his own cloak torn into strips. A merchant offers dates from his private pouch to those who lost their rations, hands trembling but insistent. A guard pours a few drops of his water into a skin for a boy too weak to fetch his own. Small acts, fragile but shining in the wreckage. The caravan cannot move that night. Men huddle close, cloaks wrapped tight, bodies pressed against camels for warmth. The stars are hidden, the sky dark with dust. You close your eyes, but sleep is broken. restless. The storm hums still in your ears, a ghost of its roar. Dawn reveals the true cost. Sand lies thick, dunes reshaped, where fire once burned. Only mounds remain. Men dig for lost goods, uncovering scraps, half spoiled. The missing are not found. Their graves are the desert itself, unmarked, unremembered, but by those who marched beside them. The caravan moves again, slower now, burdened by loss. Loads are lighter in goods, heavier in sorrow. You walk in silence, the bells sounding hollow. Every step feels watched, as though the desert itself measures your strength. By midday, thirst returns with vengeance. Water lost in the storm cannot be replaced. Skins are passed with tighter ration. Each sip smaller, tongues swell, lips bleed. The sun presses down, merciless. Yet you walk, always forward. In the afternoon, a man collapses. His legs buckle, body folding into sand. Others rush to him, lifting, urging. But he shakes his head. His eyes are empty. Words faint. Leave me. But they do not. His load is taken. His arms slung over shoulders. He stumbles onward, supported by comrades. Survival is not his alone. It belongs to the group. Toward evening, you stumble too. Your feet burn, blisters roar. Every step agony. You pause briefly, resting against a camel's flank. The beast turns its great head, snorts, its breath warm against your cheek. You stroke its coarse hair, grateful for its steady strength. The caravan endures because of these animals as much as the men. Without them, no crossing is possible. The chronicles often note a single camel could carry as much as a horse threefold, its stomach storing water for days. Yet even camels break. You wonder when your own body will. Night comes. Fires are fewer now, fuel scarce, morale thinner. Yet still, tea is brewed, dates shared. Men sit in silence, shoulders touching, eyes on flames. One hums a tune low and steady. Another joins, then another. The sound is fragile, weary, but it holds the group together. You sip tea, bitter, but the warmth spreads, calming your shaking hands. A merchant leans toward you, offering a fig from his private pouch. His eyes are hollow, yet kind. You accept, the sweetness overwhelming after days of dryness. You thank him softly, words nearly lost in the hum. He nods, nothing more. This is survival too. Kindness, solidarity, the sharing of what little remains. You lie down, cloak wrapped tight. The stars return, faint through dust but present. Camels groan, bells chime faintly. The desert hums around you, vast, endless, merciless. Yet within the circle of men, within the sound of breath and heartbeat, there is life still. Sleep comes, heavy, dreamless. Tomorrow will demand more. The desert does not only test bodies, it tests tempers. Morning begins with another quarrel. A merchant discovers that one of his jars is gone, lost in the storm. He accuses a neighbor of theft. Voice sharp, finger stabbing the air. The accused denies it, swears by his children. Voices rise, hands reach for blades. The guards step in quickly, their leader raising his spear high. His command is clear: silence or punishment. The caravan cannot afford division. The quarrel fades, but unease lingers. Distrust is another danger, one as sharp as thirst. By the 8th day, the losses from the storm still weigh heavy. Loads are lighter, but the silence heavier. Goods once counted for profit now feel like ghosts, spices spilled into sand, jars smashed, camels buried. The desert does not return what it takes. Men walk with eyes lowered, lips cracked, shoulders stooped. Even the bells sound tired. The sun climbs, heat pressing down. Cloaks are pulled tighter across faces, eyes narrowed, sand slides beneath feet, each step heavier. A camel stumbles, its load shifting dangerously. Men rush to steady it, ropes tugged, curses flying. The beast groans, knees trembling, then steadies. You walk on, heart pounding. Even the animals feel the strain. By midday, another collapse. This time a guard, strong and proud, suddenly stumbles, clutching his chest. He gasps, knees buckling, body folding into sand. Others rush to him, lifting, urging. His face is pale, lips blue. He shakes his head weakly. His blade slips from his hand, falling into sand with a dull thud. For a moment silence hangs heavy. Then a prayer is whispered. His eyes close. The caravan buries him quickly. Sand poured, names spoken once. Then silence. His spear is given to another. The line moves on. You walk in shock. Guards are strength, protection, certainty. To see one fall is to feel the fragility of all. The desert spares no one. Not merchant, not pilgrim, not guard. The horizon shimmers with mirages again. Pools of water, trees swaying, shade beckoning. You know they are false, yet still your body aches toward them. The desert taunts you with what you cannot have. Afternoon stretches. Hunger gnaws, thirst burns. Water skins are lighter than before, their contents measured carefully. Only a swallow at each stop, warm and bitter, yet you drink because even that mouthful means life. By late afternoon the line slows. Blisters burn on your feet. Each step agony. You stumble, catch yourself, stumble again. A man beside you offers his arm, steadying you. His face is as weary as your own. Yet he nods, silently urging you forward. Solidarity endures. Without it, the caravan would have ended days ago. Around the fire, voices rise. Stories begin again. Fragile but insistent. One merchant speaks of Aleppo, its markets filled with silk that glitters like water. He describes the smell of spices so strong they linger on your hands for days. His voice is wistful, eyes distant. Another speaks of Samarkand, its domes gleaming blue and gold. He tells of scholars debating in courtyards, their words echoing through marble halls. The men around him smile faintly, imagining a world far removed from this sand. At last, the signal to halt. Camels kneel, loads shift, fires spark in the dusk, smoke rising into violet sky. You sit close, cloak wrapped tight, hands trembling with fatigue. A scrap of bread is passed, hard and dry. You chew slowly, washing it with a sip of tea. The warmth spreads, easing your throat. Then the talk turns darker. One man tells of a caravan years past that never returned, swallowed by sandstorm or raiders. Another claims to have seen bones half buried in dunes, bells still clinging to skeletal camels. The fire crackles, shadows flicker, unease settles once more. Then a pilgrim speaks softly of faith. He tells of Mecca, of the Kaaba, of the journey that cleanses the soul. His words bring silence. Heads bowed. For some, this caravan is not trade but devotion, every step a prayer. But not all stories are lofty. The guard shares a crude joke, and laughter ripples through the group. Brief but genuine. Another man tells of a foolish traveller who mistook a mirage for water and ran headlong into sand, his companions dragging him back by the heels. The laughter grows louder, men clutching their sides despite fatigue. For a moment the firelight feels warm, the desert held at bay. You listen in silence, staring into flames. The stories weave a fragile thread between men, binding them against fear. Without them, silence would crush. Yet the stories remind you too of how fragile survival is, how easily the desert swallows both life and memory. Night deepens. The stars blaze, sharp and countless. You lie down, cloak pulled tight, sand cold beneath. Camels groan. Bells clink faintly. The fire burns low, shadows stretching long. Sleep comes slowly, shaped by hunger, thirst, and fear. Yet within the circle of men, voices fading into silence, you feel a flicker of comfort. The desert has taken much, but it has not taken you. Not yet. Tomorrow will ask again. Morning breaks with the sound of groaning beasts. The caravan rises slowly. bodies stiff, eyes red from restless sleep. Fires are nothing but cold ash, and cloaks are stiff with sand. Men stretch aching limbs, tying ropes, lifting loads with weary hands. Bells jangle dully as camels are coaxed upright, their long legs trembling. The air is still cool, but already the sun stains the horizon with pale fire. You chew a scrap of bread, hard enough to crack a tooth, washing it down with bitter tea. It fills little, but it is enough to keep your body moving. The line begins its march once more. Step, breath, bell, the rhythm that has become your heartbeat. The morning passes quietly. Too quietly. The desert feels watchful, holding its breath. Sand crunches beneath feet. Wind whispers across dunes. No voices rise. No songs. No laughter. Only silence. Heavy and brittle. Fatigue presses down like another weight. Bending shoulders, dragging feet. By mid-morning it happens. A camel stumbles, knees buckling, load sliding. The beast groans, thrashes, tries to rise, but collapses again. Men rush to it, shouting, tugging at ropes. The load spills into the sand, jars of oil, bolts of cloth, sacks of salt. Some items are salvaged quickly, others shattered, wasted. The camel breathes raggedly, foam at its mouth, eyes rolling white. The handlers argue. Some say to lighten the load, let the beast recover. Others insist it is finished, that to waste time is to risk the entire caravan. The voices grow sharp, fists clenching. At last, the leader makes the choice. The beast is left. A prayer is murmured. A hand rests briefly on its neck. Then the line moves on, leaving the animal groaning in the sand. You walk on, heart heavy. The sound of its cries follows you for miles, faint, fading, then gone. Loss in the desert is never clean. It lingers like a wound. The load once carried by the camel is divided among men. A bolt of cloth is slung across your own shoulders, its weight biting into skin. Others carry jars, sacks, ropes. The burden is shared, but the cost is felt. Every step is harder now, every breath heavier. By midday, the sun is merciless again. Heat radiates from the sand, burning through soles. Lips crack, throats rasp. Water skins are past, each sip smaller than before. You drink, the liquid warm and leathery, yet still life itself. Around you, men tilt skins carefully, counting drops. Nothing is wasted. A man near you stumbles, falling to his knees. His load spills, jars clattering. He tries to rise, but his arms shake, body trembling. Others move to help, lifting him, gathering his goods. He resists weakly, ashamed, but his strength is gone. A merchant places a hand on his shoulder, steadying him. Another offers a date, pressing it into his mouth. He chews slowly, tears streaking dust from his face. The line waits, patient, then moves again. Small kindness hold the caravan together. Afternoon drags endlessly. The dunes roll forward, unbroken, cruel. Feet blister, backs ache, eyes blur with heat. Voices fade into silence. Only bells and breath remaining. You walk in haze, mind drifting. Images of water, shade, bread haunt you, cruel mirages of memory. Then a change. The horizon flickers with movement. Birds wheeling in the distance. Hope stirs. Birds mean water. Perhaps trees. Perhaps shade. The pace quickens. Weary bodies lurching forward, but the land offers nothing. No palms, no pool, only sand. The birds vanish, leaving emptiness. Disappointment crushes harder than thirst. By evening, exhaustion is complete. The signal to halt comes at last. Camels kneel, loads slump, men collapse where they stand, too tired to speak. Fires are lit slowly, hands trembling with fatigue. Smoke rises weakly into dusk. You sit close to the flames, cloak wrapped tight. Hands raw. A scrap of bread is passed, tasteless, dry. You chew in silence, washing it with tea. The warmth soothes your throat, though the taste is bitter. Around you, men sit in silence, faces hollow, eyes sunken. Then a gesture breaks the heaviness. The man who fell earlier approaches you, holding half a fig. His hands tremble, his eyes still weary, but he presses it into your palm. You stare, surprised. Food is precious, sacred, and yet he offers it freely. You thank him softly, voice rough. He nods, a faint smile on his cracked lips. You bite the fig. Sweetness bursts across your tongue, sharp, rich, overwhelming after days of dryness. It feels like a miracle, a reminder of life beyond sand. You savor it slowly, grateful beyond words. The gesture warms more than the fire. A spark against the dark. Stories stir faintly. A guard murmurs of Baghdad. Its streets crowded, lanterns glowing. A merchant speaks of Cairo, its markets endless. Voices rising like waves. A pilgrim whispers of Mecca, of prayer, of salvation. The words are soft, tired, yet they weave a fragile thread of hope. The night deepens. Stars blaze. Countless. Eternal. You lie down. Cloak pulled tight. Sand is cold beneath. Wind sharp against cheeks. Camels groan. Bells chime faintly. Around you, men breathe in rhythm, weary but alive. Sleep comes slowly, shaped by exhaustion and memory. Yet within the circle of fire, within the small acts of kindness, you feel a flicker of strength. The desert takes much, but not everything. Not yet. Tomorrow will demand more. Night has a way of shrinking the desert into silence, yet expanding it into infinity. You wake in darkness, stirred by the sound of a guard's staff tapping gently against stones. The fire has burned low, only embers glowing faintly. Around you, men stir slowly, stretching stiff limbs, tying cloaks tighter against the cold. The stars above are sharp and endless, scattered across the sky like grains of salt spilled upon black cloth. It is these stars that keep you alive. The guides gather, pointing upward, tracing lines invisible to the untrained. Their fingers move with certainty, naming constellations in voices calm and steady. You hear the names whispered: Al-Jawza, Al-Suhail, Banat, Nash, the familiar stars of the Arab sky. To you they are glittering lights, beautiful but bewildering. To the guides they are a map, each one a landmark as sure as a road. The desert holds no signs, no markers. Dunes shift with every wind, erasing paths, reshaping ridges. Wells that once lay in shadow can vanish overnight beneath sand, but the stars remain. They are memory etched in the sky, lines that lead east to Samarkand, west to Cairo, south across the Sahara itself. Without them, caravans would wander blind. As dawn approaches, the guides finish their murmured calculations. The course is set. The caravan stirs, camels groaning as loads are strapped once more. Bells chime softly, the sound carrying into darkness. Bread is chewed, water sipped, fire extinguished. Then the march begins again. Morning light spills across dunes, painting them in gold. You walk, step after step, the rhythm carved into your bones. The desert is vast, but the caravan moves like a river, flowing steady, patient. By mid-morning, voices rise. A merchant speaks of forgotten routes, trails that once carried caravans but now lie abandoned. Some, he says, were lost to war, others to shifting sands, others simply to memory fading with time. He tells of an old path said to cut days from the journey, but no one remembers where it begins. Men murmur uneasily. To stray from known routes is death. Better to walk longer than to vanish forever. Another man recalls a tale of a caravan that wandered off course, mistaking one constellation for another. When the stars shifted, they realized too late. Days passed with no water, no wells. Only bones were found when another group stumbled across their trail. Whether truth or warning, the story lingers like grit in the mouth. The sun climbs higher, Heat pressing down, scarves tighten across faces, steps slow, camels sway heavily, their breaths ragged. You sip water carefully, counting drops. The skins grow lighter each day, their weight a constant reminder of scarcity. Guides insist another well lies ahead, but doubt gnaws at the edges of belief. By noon, hunger gnaws too. Dates are passed, sticky and sweet. Chewed slowly, bread is shared, crumbs falling into sand. One man saves half of his portion for evening, tucking it into cloth. Another offers a scrap to the man beside him, though his own share is meagre. These small gestures mean survival. The caravan halts briefly at a rocky outcrop. Men collapse into shade. Grateful for even this small relief, camels kneel, groaning, tongues lolling. You sit against stone, its surface hot but solid. Around you men rest their heads on packs, eyes closed, breath shallow. The silence is heavy, broken only by the rasp of wind. Then a story. An elder speaks of his father, who once led caravans across this same route. He tells how his father memorized the sky, the position of every star at every season. Even in storm or cloud he could find direction by the faintest glimmer, by the angle of shadow at dawn. The men listen with respect, nodding. Such skill is rare now, lost to time. Memory itself is a treasure, as fragile and precious as gold. Afternoon stretches long. The sun blazes, sand burns beneath feet. Mirages shimmer, pools of water, lines of palms, but vanish as you approach. The desert toys with you, offering hope only to snatch it away. Your mouth is dry, your body aching, but still you walk. Then unease ripples through the line. The guides pause, scanning horizon, murmuring quietly. Dunes have shifted, landmarks erased. For a moment, direction is uncertain. Fear spreads quickly. What if the course is lost? What if the stars were read wrong, or memory falters? You feel the weight of silence, the dread of wandering. At last a guide raises his staff, pointing toward a distant ridge. His voice is steady. The path lies that way. The caravan stirs again, relief spreading. But the doubt lingers, quiet and heavy. You walk on, eyes flicking to the horizon, searching for wells that may or may not exist. By evening, shadows stretch long, fires spark once more, smoke curling into darkening sky. You sit close, sipping tea, cloak wrapped tight. Around you men share stories again, voices low. A merchant speaks of Baghdad, its markets glowing with lantern light. Another tells of Damascus, its gardens lush with fountains. The names are like music, reminders of a world beyond sand. But unease still lingers. A guard speaks of a caravan that trusted a guide who misread the stars. They marched in circles for days before realizing their supplies dwindling, men collapsing. Only a handful survived. The firelight flickers, shadows dancing across tired faces. Silence follows the tale, heavy as the desert itself. Yet kindness rises again. A man passes you half a fig, its sweetness sharp in your mouth. Another offers a scrap of cloth to pad your blistered foot. Around the fire, hands rest briefly on shoulders. Eyes meet with quiet solidarity. In the desert, survival is never alone. The night deepens. Stars blaze overhead, endless, eternal. You lie down, cloak pulled tight. Sand cold beneath. Camels groan. Bells clink faintly. The desert hums with silence, vast and indifferent. You close your eyes, guided not only by stars but by the fragile thread of men walking beside you. Tomorrow the desert will ask again. Morning begins with tension in the air. The caravan stirs slowly, bodies stiff, eyes hollow from another night on the cold sand. Fires burn low, smoke thin and pale. Bread is chewed without words, water sipped carefully. Bells jingle faintly as camels rise, groaning under their loads. The guides speak quietly, pointing to the horizon, their voices calm but strained. Ahead lies an oasis, they say, If their memory is true, if the wells are still alive, there will be relief. If not, silence. You march with the others, step after step. The air is cool at first, wind brushing against your cheeks. The desert feels endless, dunes rolling like frozen waves. But by mid-morning the sun is merciless again. Heat presses down, heavy and sharp. Sand burns beneath your feet. Sweat stings your eyes. Lips crack. Water skins grow lighter with every sip. Hope clings only to the promise of the oasis. Then a shimmer. Palms flicker on the horizon, faint, wavering. At first you think it is another mirage, another cruel trick. But as you walk, the shapes sharpen, trees rise, green against the gold, their shadows spreading wide. The murmur runs through the caravan, real, an oasis, real. Pace quickens, steps grow stronger despite exhaustion. Even the camels lift their heads, groaning in anticipation. At last you reach it. Palms sway gently. Water glints dark and cool. Men rush forward, falling to their knees, plunging hands and faces into the pool. You do the same. Water sweet against your tongue, cool against your parched throat. Relief floods through you, so strong it feels like rebirth. You drink again, slower this time, savouring every swallow. Camels drink deeply, groaning, their tongues lapping noisily. The air is rich with the scent of green, of life. But you are not alone. Figures appear from the palms, men, women, children. Locals, their clothes patched, their eyes sharp. They watch the caravan with suspicion, weighing every movement. The guards step forward quickly, spears in hand, their voices steady but tense. The air hums with unease. Then, a merchant steps forward, his hands raised, voice calm. He speaks in the shared tongue of trade, offering goods, beads, spices, cloth. The locals hesitate, then reply. Slowly the tension eases. Blankets are spread, goods laid out. Trade begins. You watch as beads are exchanged for figs, cloth for grain, spices for honey. Voices rise, cautious at first, then warmer. Children laugh as they chase each other through the palms, darting between camels. A woman offers a jar of milk, her eyes measuring the man who takes it. Trust is fragile here, as fragile as water. Yet danger lingers. The guards keep their hands on blades, their eyes scanning the edges of the palms. Raiders have been known to pose as traders, waiting until caravans grow careless. Stories tell of whole camps slaughtered at oases, their goods stolen, their bodies left for vultures. The thought hangs heavy, even as laughter rises. You sit in the shade, sipping tea brewed from fresh herbs gathered nearby. The taste is sharp, fragrant, different from the bitter brews of the road. You chew a fig, its sweetness rich, overwhelming after days of dryness. Around you men sigh with relief, shoulders loosening. For a moment the desert feels distant. Then, whispers. A guard mutters that too many strangers linger in the shadows. Another swears he saw a blade glint in the hands of a youth. The caravan leader orders double watches for the night. Trust, but never fully. Survival demands caution. As evening falls, fires spark beneath the palms. Smoke curls into the violet sky, mingling with the scent of roasting grain. The air hums with voices. Traders bargaining, children laughing, guards murmuring. You sit close to the flames, cloak pulled tight, bread in hand. Around you, men share stories again. Voices softer now. One speaks of Cairo, its streets crowded, its markets endless. Another tells of Samarkand, its scholars debating beneath domes of blue. The names are like promises, reminders of a world beyond sand. But unease lingers. The locals watch from the edges, their eyes sharp, their voices low. Some smile, others do not. You feel the weight of their gaze even as you eat. Night deepens, stars blaze above, countless eternal. Camels groan softly, bells chiming faintly. Men lie down beneath the palms, cloaks wrapped tight, guards pace slowly. spears in hand, eyes scanning the dark. You close your eyes, but sleep is shallow, restless. Dreams twist with images of blades in the night, of strangers' eyes glinting, of water turning bitter. Dawn comes, pale and cool. The caravan stirs quickly, loads retied, goods packed. Farewells are exchanged, cautious but polite. Beads change hands one last time. Figs passed, herbs tucked into packs. Then the line moves again, stepping from shade back into sand. The oasis fades behind you, its palms shrinking, its water vanishing into distance. Ahead lies only desert, vast and unbroken. The caravan marches on. The desert teaches you to listen not only to what is said, but to what is whispered. From the moment you leave the palms behind, the air hums with unease. The caravan moves steadily, bells chiming, sand crunching underfoot, but voices are lower, sharper. Rumours drift like dust on the wind. A man claims that a caravan 2 weeks ahead was attacked by raiders. Another insists he heard hoofbeats in the night. Though no one else saw them, a guard mutters that oases can hide as much danger as relief, that the locals you met might have sent word of your riches to men waiting in the dunes. The stories change, but the fear remains. Morning sun climbs higher, heat pressing against your back. Scarves tighten across faces, steps drag, camels sway heavily, their groans low. Water skins are passed carefully, every drop measured. The air tastes of dust and tension. You glance at the horizon often, searching for movement, shapes, shadows. Every ridge feels watchful, every dune a hiding place. By mid-morning, the first false alarm comes, a cry from the front, the sight of riders on the horizon. Voices rise, guards rush forward, blades drawn. The caravan tightens, merchants pulling closer, children hidden behind beasts. Hearts pound, breath short. You grip your cloak tight, pulse racing. But as the shapes draw closer, they resolve into nothing more than rocks, jagged peaks of stone shimmering in the heat. Relief spreads, laughter sharp and nervous. Yet the fear does not leave. It only hides, waiting. By midday, the sun is merciless. The air is heavy, shimmering. Men's lips crack, their eyes hollow. A guard hums a low chant, steadying steps. Another joins, then another. Soon the rhythm spreads, voices blending into a dull, steady song. It does not banish fear, but it fills the silence, gives the march a heartbeat. When the caravan halts, men collapse into shade, chewing dates slowly, sipping water sparingly. Voices murmur of home, of markets, of families. Yet always, the talk circles back to raiders. A man recalls a caravan ambushed near Damascus, half its goods stolen, half its men left in the sand. Another swears he once saw bones along the trail, bells still clinging to skeletal camels. The stories hang heavy, shaping every glance toward the horizon. Afternoon stretches long. The heat is unbearable, yet unease drives the caravan faster. The line feels tighter, guards walking closer, hands resting on hilts. You stumble often, feet blistered, throat raw, but fear propels you forward. The desert itself seems to hold its breath. As dusk falls, the camp is built quickly. Fires spark, smoke curling upward, but the circle is smaller, closer. Guards pace, more often, eyes scanning the dark. Men speak in hushed tones, their laughter brief, brittle. You sip tea, bitter and sharp, its warmth calm in your throat but not your nerves. Around you, faces are drawn, eyes darting to shadows. Stories rise again, softer now. One man tells of Cairo, its markets glowing, its streets crowded. Another of Baghdad, lanterns lighting the river. The names are like charms, spoken to ward off fear, but the silence that follows is heavy. Then, a sound. Hoofbeats. Faint, distant, carried on the wind. Guards stiffen, heads turning, voices hush. Fires crackle. You strain your ears, heart pounding. Yes, there, faint but steady, hooves striking sand. The guards move quickly, forming a ring around the camp. Spears are lifted, blades drawn. Merchants pull close, clutching children, holding ropes tight. Camels shift uneasily, groaning, bells clinking nervously. The night hums with tension. Minutes pass. The sound grows louder, then fades, then returns. Shadows flicker at the edges of vision, shapes moving on distant dunes. Too far to see clearly, too close to ignore. Whispers ripple through the camp. Some say it is only imagination. Wind carrying echoes, others swear they saw riders, cloaks dark against the sand. The leader orders silence, patience. To panic is to waste strength. The guards remain steady, eyes fixed on the horizon, bodies tense as bowstrings. The night stretches endlessly. Fires burn low, men sit in silence, ears straining. The sound comes and goes. Never close, never gone. Sleep is impossible. You lie down, cloak wrapped tight, but every hoofbeat echoes in your chest. Your eyes flick to the stars, sharp and indifferent. They give direction, but not safety. At last, dawn comes. Pale light spills across dunes, revealing emptiness. No riders, no raiders, only sand. Relief spreads slowly, but suspicion lingers. Were they real or only shadows? Did they vanish or are they waiting still? The questions remain unanswered. The caravan moves again, weary, tense. Voices are low, eyes sharp. Even laughter feels brittle, hollow. Every dune feels like a trap, every shadow a threat. The desert itself seems to conspire, silent, watchful, vast. By midday, waterskins are lighter. Thirst gnaws, hunger lingers. The march is slower, but no one dares suggest stopping. The guides urge forward, their voices calm, but their eyes betray worry. Wells must come soon, or the desert will claim more lives. Afternoon drags. The sun burns, sand shimmers. Fear presses down as heavily as heat. You stumble often, body aching, throat raw, but you walk. Step after step. Survival is movement. To stop is to vanish. Evening arrives at last. Fires spark, tea brews, bread breaks. Men sit close, voices low. Stories are softer, briefer, spoken like prayers. One man murmurs of home, another of children, another of markets. Their words are fragile shields against fear. The night deepens, stars blaze, countless eternal. You lie down, cloak wrapped tight, sand cold beneath. Camels groan, bells chime faintly, guards pace, spears gleaming in starlight. The hoofbeats do not return tonight, but the fear remains, coiled in silence. You close your eyes, knowing danger lingers just beyond sight. Tomorrow the desert will ask again. The desert consumes almost everything: sound, colour, breath. Yet even here, markets find a way to live. The morning begins with the usual rhythm. Bread passed, tea brewed, cloaks tightened, camels coaxed to their feet, bells jingle faintly, sand crunches under sandals. The march resumes, but after days of silence, a change stirs in the line. Voices rise, first in murmurs, then stronger. Merchants begin to trade, not with strangers but with each other. It starts with something small. A man offers a handful of dates to another in exchange for a strip of dried meat. Then cloth is unrolled, its shimmer catching the sun, and weighed against a pouch of peppercorns. Soon the line hums with barter. Hands stretch across camels, goods passing from palm to palm. Even in exhaustion, the instinct to trade is as natural as breath. You watch as silk is drawn out, smooth and bright even beneath dust. Fingers stroke its surface, marveling at its softness. A merchant boasts of its origin, woven in distant China, carried across mountains before reaching Baghdad. Another produces a vial of indigo, its powder deep and rich. He shakes it gently, the color glowing against the light. Men murmur with admiration. Even here, in the heart of emptiness, beauty endures. The smells mingle with the desert air. Sharp pepper, sweet cinnamon, earthy saffron. For a moment, the sand itself seems perfumed. You breathe deeply, savoring the contrast. The desert has no fragrance but dust and sweat. Spices turn the air into memory of markets, kitchens, festivals. They remind you of a world beyond survival, a world of abundance. A guard laughs softly as he trades a scrap of cloth for a fistful of figs. Another exchanges salt for honey, dipping a finger and licking it with closed eyes, savoring the sweetness. Laughter ripples down the line, brief but genuine. For the first time in days, the march feels lighter. By midday the sun blazes again, heat pressing down, but the market continues even under its weight. Men walk and bargain at once, their voices weaving with the bells. A merchant produces a small glass bead, translucent blue, holding it high. Another offers a pouch of dried apricots in return. The exchange is made, both men smiling faintly. The caravan halts briefly. Camels kneel, men collapse into shade. Yet even here, goods are spread across sand, cloth, beads, spices, fruit. A small bazaar rises beneath the dunes, fragile but real. You sit among it, touching fabrics, smelling herbs, watching coins change hands. A merchant shows you a scrap of parchment, faint with ink. He claims it carries a poem, copied in Damascus. You cannot read the words, but you run your fingers across the lines, imagining the scribe's hand. For a moment, the desert fades. You could almost be in a market square, voices rising, colours bright, scents thick. The illusion does not last. Wind carries sand across goods, sun burns overhead, but it lingers, comforting. The line moves again. Goods are tucked away, but chatter continues. Men boast of bargains, laugh at foolish trades, tease each other with exaggerations. The desert feels less endless when filled with voices. Afternoon stretches long. Fatigue presses down, but the thought of markets, real or imagined, carries you forward. A merchant beside you hums a tune, tapping his pack as though it were a drum. Another joins, then another, until the line hums with rhythm. The sound blends with bells, with sand, with breath. The march becomes almost music. Then, a stumble. A jar slips from a pack, smashing into sand. Oil spills, dark and rich, wasted. A cry rises, hands reaching to salvage, but the desert claims it quickly. Anger flares, shouts, curses, blame. Yet another merchant steps forward, offering a pouch of salt to replace what was lost. The anger fades, tension easing. In the desert, even generosity is a form of trade. By evening, the market returns. Fires spark, smoke curling into sky. Goods are laid out once more. Spices, cloth, beads, fruit. Men sit cross-legged, bargaining, laughing softly. You sip tea, its warmth soothing, and watch as stories weave with trade. A merchant tells of Aleppo, its market so crowded you cannot move without touching another. He describes stalls heavy with silk, piles of saffron so bright they glow, jars of honey thick as amber. Another man recalls Cairo, where gold is weighed in heaps, where music rises from every street. The names shimmer in the firelight, distant but alive. You listen, eyes closed, imagining colours, scents, sounds. The desert is far from those markets, but in memory they exist here too. Trade is not only survival, it is connection, a thread binding emptiness to abundance. The night deepens. The fires burn low, goods packed away. Men lie down, cloaks wrapped tight, sand cold beneath. Camels groan, bells chime faintly, stars blaze above. Countless, eternal. You close your eyes, the scent of cinnamon still lingering on your fingers, the memory of silk against your palm. Even here, in the heart of the desert, markets live. Tomorrow, the desert will demand more. The desert wears down not only the mind but the body. By the 14th day, pain has become your truest companion. You no longer remember what it felt like to walk without it. Every muscle aches, every joint grinds, every step sets fire to the soles of your feet. Blisters swell and burst, leaving raw flesh pressed against hot leather straps. Your shoulders burn where cloth digs into them, salt crusting into sores. Sleep no longer restores. Your body is a constant battlefield, and you wake more broken than you slept. You are not alone in this quiet war. When dawn stirs the camp, it is not with laughter, nor even with speech, but with groans. Men rise stiffly, faces hollow, eyes red-rimmed. A merchant hisses as he bends to tie his sandal. His hand trembles, his back stiff with pain. Another man, younger, coughs harshly, a sound tearing deep from his lungs. He spits into the sand, dark streaks of blood staining the ground. He glances around quickly, as though ashamed, then wipes his mouth with the back of his hand. The guards move more slowly now too. Their spears are still steady, their eyes still sharp, but their steps carry the same weight. Even the strong cannot outrun exhaustion forever. You see it in the way their shoulders sag when they think no one is looking, the way they flex stiff fingers before gripping hilts. Bread is passed, broken without ceremony. It is hard enough to crack a tooth, yet every man chews with determination. A handful of dates softens the bitterness, sticky sweetness clinging to lips. Tea is brewed from herbs gathered at the last oasis, its fragrance sharp, medicinal. You sip it slowly, warmth spreading, bitterness clearing your throat for another day's dust. Camels groan as they rise, their great bodies swaying with fatigue. Even they, the desert's champions, begin to falter. Their hides are cracked with sweat and sand, their eyes duller than before. One shakes its head violently as a load is strapped as though refusing, but finally submits. Bells jingle dully, hollow echoes of what once rang bright. The caravan moves again. Step, breath, bell, rhythm unbroken, rhythm unchanging. Yet each step now feels heavier than the last. The morning march is a trial of flesh. Men limp, favouring blistered feet wrapped in torn cloth. Some walk with ropes tied to their waists, dragging loads that camels can no longer bear. Sweat runs down brows, stinging eyes, evaporating before it cools. Scarves shield against grit, but not against weariness. Silence dominates, broken only by coughs, groans, and the dull clink of bells. By mid-morning the first collapse comes. A pilgrim stumbles, knees buckling, face falling into sand. His companions rush to him, lifting his arms, urging him forward. His lips move, but no sound comes. His eyes roll back, body trembling. Someone pours a few drops of water into his mouth, though every drop is rationed like gold. He swallows, gasping, then forces himself upright. His pack is taken by another, slung across weary shoulders already burdened. The line moves again, slower but steady. A little later, another man falters. His sandal strap snaps, tearing skin already raw. Blood stains sand with every step. He winces, biting down hard on his lip, but refuses to stop. A fellow traveller tears a strip from his own cloak, binding the wound tightly. The man nods in thanks, eyes wet with pain. Together they walk, leaning against one another. The desert shows no pity. By noon, the sun is merciless. It burns from above, while the sand scorches from below. You feel heat radiate through your soles, searing blistered feet. Sweat dries before it can cool, leaving skin crusted with salt. Lips split, tongues swell. The thirst is constant, gnawing, unending. Water skins are lighter now, collapsing inward as they empty. You sip carefully, only a mouthful. The liquid is warm, leathery, but it saves you. The caravan halts briefly. Men collapsing into scraps of shade beneath camels. The smell of beasts is heavy. Sweat, dung, dust, but their shadows are cool, and coolness is precious. A scrap of dried meat is passed, its salt sharp against your tongue. You chew slowly, forcing your jaw to move. Others do the same. Heads bowed, silence thick. Stories rise faintly, fragile as smoke. A merchant murmurs of Baghdad, of gardens alive with fountains. His voice is soft, eyes closed as though conjuring memory into existence. Another man recalls Samarkand, its domes glittering blue beneath sun, its scholars debating in marble courtyards. The names linger in air, a brief spell against despair. Some smile faintly, others bow their heads, lost in thought. The silence that follows is heavier than before. Afternoon stretches endlessly. Steps blur together, rhythm of pain and survival. Blisters tear open, blood slicking sand. Shoulders ache, backs knot, knees tremble. Still the line moves. To stop is to vanish. A cry breaks the rhythm. A man ahead collapses suddenly, screaming. His foot bursts through worn leather, skin raw, blood flowing. He writhes, clutching it, pain etched into every line of his face. Men rush to him, lifting, binding. Cloth is torn from a cloak, pressed to the wound. He weeps softly, ashamed. He cannot walk. The caravan hesitates. To carry him is to slow. To leave him is to condemn. At last a choice is made. He is lifted onto a camel, his load discarded. The beast groans under extra weight, but accepts. The line resumes, slower, heavier. He sobs into silence, alive but diminished. By evening, exhaustion is absolute. Fires spark weakly, smoke curling thin into violet sky. Men sit slumped, cloaks wrapped tight, eyes hollow. Bread is broken, tea brewed. You sip slowly, warmth soothing throat raw with dust. Around you men tend wounds, feet washed, sores bound, cloth changed. The smell of blood mingles with smoke. A merchant unwraps his foot, revealing blisters raw, skin torn. He hisses, teeth clenched, as he dips cloth into tea and presses it against flesh. Another offers a scrap of clean linen, torn from his own shirt. The man accepts with gratitude, voice soft, almost broken. Small kindness, but survival depends on such things. Others share quietly. A man passes half a fig to his neighbour. Though food is scarce, another offers his water skin. Only a mouthful, but precious. Eyes meet with gratitude. Hands clasp briefly. These acts bind the caravan more strongly than ropes or coin. Stories rise again, softer, more fragile. A pilgrim whispers of Cairo, its streets alive with prayer and song. Another recalls Aleppo, towers shining in dusk. The words are spoken like prayers, charms against despair. The firelight flickers, shadows long, faces hollow yet alive. But fear is present too. A guard murmurs of raiders, shadows that watch from dunes. His words hush conversation, eyes flicking to darkness. Spears are kept close, hands near hilts. The night feels longer, heavier. You lie down at last, cloak wrapped tight. The sand is cold beneath, stars sharp above. Pain thrums through every limb, but exhaustion pulls you under. Around you, men breathe raggedly. Camels groan, bells chime faintly. The desert has taken much, but not yet everything, not yet you. Tomorrow, it will demand more. The desert strips life down to its barest form. Hunger, thirst, fatigue. Yet even here, something softer survives. You wake with sand crusted to your cloak, throat raw from the night air. The fire is ash, the stars fading pale. Men stir slowly, shoulders hunched, faces hollow. Camels groan as ropes are pulled, bells chiming faintly in the dawn. Bread is passed, hard, dry, crumbling. You chew without appetite, washing it down with a mouthful of bitter tea. It is not pleasure, only fuel. Still the warmth steadies you. The caravan moves again, Step by weary step, feet drag, blisters roar, shoulders sag beneath loads. Voices are few, silence thick, only the bells break the monotony, their rhythm constant. By mid-morning, a man stumbles, his knees buckle, his load slipping from his shoulders. He collapses into sand, gasping. A guard shouts, but before he can rise, another man kneels beside him, offering his own skin. The water is precious, nearly empty, but he tilts it gently against cracked lips. The fallen man drinks, coughs, then drinks again. His eyes close, relief flooding his face. He whispers thanks. The helper shrugs, weary, but the gesture holds weight. In the desert, generosity is survival. Not long after, another act. A merchant breaks his ration of dates, handing half to a boy too weak to chew his bread. The boy's father protests, but the merchant insists, pressing the fruit into small hands. The boy eats slowly, sweetness glistening on his lips. Around them, men watch silently. No one speaks, but the kindness is noted, carried like a light against the dark. By noon, the sun is merciless. The heat crushes down, the sand radiates back. Sweat dries instantly, leaving salt-crusting skin. Lips split, tongues swell. Water is passed, each man careful, each drop treasured. You sip your share, warm and leathery, but feel it slide down your throat like salvation. A man beside you falters, his face pale, his breath ragged, his steps slow, shoulders sagging. You reach out, steadying him with your arm. His weight is heavy, dragging, but you bear it. He glances at you, eyes hollow, lips cracked, and nods faintly. No words are needed. You walk together, leaning into each other's strength. The caravan halts briefly. Men collapse into thin shade, cloaks pulled tight against heat. Camels kneel, tongues lolling. Bread is broken again, dry and tasteless. You chew slowly, sipping tea. Around you, men share scraps, half a fig, a handful of nuts, a scrap of meat. Each offering is small, yet it spreads, weaving a fragile web of solidarity. A story rises softly. A pilgrim murmurs of Mecca, of prayer, of salvation. His voice is steady, eyes bright with faith. Another man whispers of Baghdad, its gardens alive with fountains. The words are fragile, but they carry hope. Men listen, nodding faintly, eyes far away. For a moment, the desert feels less endless. Afternoon drags, steps blurring together, feet bleed, shoulders ache, bodies tremble. Yet the caravan moves, bound by necessity. A man hums softly, a tune without words. Another joins, then another. Soon the line carries rhythm, faint but steady. The sound blends with bells, filling silence. Even exhausted, voices weave together, reminding each other that they are not alone. Then another stumble. A camel collapses, knees buckling. Its load spills, cloth, jars, sacks. Men rush to it, shouting, tugging ropes. The beast groans, trembling. At last it rises, but limps heavily, its strength fading. The goods are divided among men, each taking a share. Shoulders bow lower, but no one refuses. To abandon the load is to waste survival. Evening arrives at last. Fires spark weakly, smoke curling into violet sky. Men sit close, cloaks wrapped tight, bread passed, tea brewed. You sip slowly, warmth steadying weary limbs. Around you, wounds are tended, feet washed, sores bound, bandages changed. One man shares his cloth with another, tearing his shirt into strips. Another pours a little oil on cracked skin, easing pain. Each act is small but vital. Laughter flickers faintly. A guard tells a crude joke, voice low, eyes tired. Another man teases him, and the group chuckles softly. The sound feels fragile, but it warms. In the firelight for a moment, men are not only survivors, they are companions. A merchant pulls a small jar from his pack, opening it carefully. The air fills with the sharp scent of saffron. Men inhale deeply, eyes closing, sighing softly. The spice is precious, worth more than gold, but tonight it is shared sparingly, a pinch stirred into tea. The flavour is rich, strange against the bitterness. Men smile faintly, savouring it, a luxury in the midst of desolation. Night deepens. Stars blaze overhead, countless, eternal. Guards pace slowly, spears in hand, eyes scanning darkness. Camels groan, bells chime faintly. Men lie down close, bodies pressed together for warmth. You close your eyes, cloak wrapped tight. Pain throbs, thirst lingers, fear hums, yet within the circle of fire, among men who share water, bread, figs, and cloth, you feel something stronger than despair. Kindness, small but steady, is what carries you forward. Tomorrow the desert will demand more. The desert is a land of extremes, and sometimes it surprises even those who know it best. For days the sun has ruled without mercy, burning, crushing, endless. Thirst gnaws at every step. Water skins sag with emptiness. Men march in silence, lips cracked, eyes hollow. Hope clings only to distant promises of wells. Then, one afternoon, the air shifts. It begins as a smell, sharp, metallic, strange against the usual dryness. You inhale deeply, puzzled. Others notice too, raising their heads, sniffing the air. A murmur spreads rain. Some laugh bitterly, calling it impossible. But the sky darkens, clouds gathering at the horizon. Shadows stretch across dunes, cooler air brushing against sweaty faces. The guides exchange uneasy glances. Rain in the desert is a gift, but not without danger. The first drops fall like pebbles, heavy and rare. They splatter against sand, vanishing instantly. Men look upward, eyes wide. Then the sky opens. Sheets of water cascade down, drumming against cloaks, soaking turbans, splashing into dust. The desert drinks greedily, sand darkening, air thick with scent of earth reborn. Shouts rise, laughter, cries of joy. Men throw back their heads, mouths open, drinking from the sky. Children run with arms wide, spinning in delight. Camels groan, lifting their heads, tongues catching drops. You stand stunned, face lifted, water running down your cheeks, your throat, your chest. Relief floods you, stronger than any oasis. Yet joy is not the only companion. The guides shout warnings. Their voices sharp. Rain turns sand to mud, dunes to traps. Gullies can flood in minutes. Torrents rushing where none existed before. Water that heals can also kill. The caravan moves quickly, seeking higher ground. Loads are tightened, camels urged forward. Men slip in wet sand, falling, rising, staggering. The rain lashes harder, stinging skin, blinding eyes. Visibility vanishes, horizon swallowed by grey. You cling to a camel's rope, pulled forward through chaos. Bells jingle wildly, beasts groaning in panic. A shout rings out. Someone has fallen. You glance back, see a man struggling in a sudden stream, water rushing around his legs. Others rush to him, pulling him free, dragging him upward. His pack is lost, swept away. The desert takes even in generosity. By dusk the storm weakens. Rain softens to drizzle, then fades. Clouds drift apart, revealing pale sky. The air is cooler, the ground dark and damp. Puddles shimmer across dunes, reflecting stars yet unseen. The desert smells alive, earthy, strange. Men collapse where they stand, soaked, shivering but laughing. They cup water in their hands, drinking greedily, filling skins from shallow pools. But the guides caution again. Rainwater is fleeting, vanishing as quickly as it came. By morning, much will be gone. What remains may turn brackish, dangerous to drink. Still for tonight, thirst is quenched, bodies refreshed. Fires spark weakly, smoke mingling with damp air. Cloaks hang heavy, dripping. Bread is chewed, soggy but welcome. Tea is brewed with rainwater. Its taste cleaner, fresher. You sip slowly, warmth spreading through chilled limbs. Around you men smile faintly, voices brighter. The storm has taken much energy, but it has given more in return. Stories rise, richer tonight. A merchant recalls a storm in Aleppo, when streets flooded and boats floated where camels once walked. Another man tells of Cairo, where the Nile swells with rains, feeding fields and markets. A pilgrim murmurs of Mecca, where rain is seen as blessing, washing dust from stone and soul alike. The firelight flickers, shadows dancing across faces, damp but alive. You lie down in damp sand, cloak heavy with water. The ground is cool, softer than before. Camels groan, their hides steaming faintly in night air. Bells chime softly, muffled by damp. Above, stars emerge through clearing sky, countless and eternal. Sleep comes easier tonight, shaped by relief. The desert has shown mercy. If only for a moment. Tomorrow it will demand again, but for now you are quenched. Tomorrow you walk renewed. Mercy in the desert rarely comes without a hidden cost. The morning after the rain, the camp wakes in dampness. Cloaks cling wet and heavy. Fires refuse to spark. Bread tastes of mould and grit. Sand has turned to mud, sucking at sandals, clinging to legs. The desert, usually dry and hard, is now strange, sticky, unstable, untrustworthy. Camels rise with effort, their long legs sinking into softened ground. They groan loudly, bells muffled by damp straps. Loads are retied, ropes stiff with moisture. Men mutter curses as they pull packs from mud, jars crusted with grit, cloth damp and stained. The brief joy of rain is gone, replaced by fatigue heavier than before. The march resumes. Step, drag, squelch. The sound of feet in wet sand is unnatural. A rhythm of struggle. Each step pulls, resists, slows. Bodies already weakened groan under new strain. A man stumbles, sandal torn free from mud. He curses, hopping, nearly falling. Another offers a hand, pulling him steady. They laugh bitterly, then keep walking. By mid-morning, insects arrive. Tiny, relentless, drawn by stagnant pools left in hollows. They swarm in clouds, biting exposed skin, crawling beneath scarves. Men swat helplessly, muttering curses, slapping necks and arms. The bites itch, swell, redden. A guard spits angrily, waving his spear through air thick with wings. Relief has turned to torment. Worse still, sickness stirs. A man coughs violently, clutching his stomach. He bends, retching into mud, body trembling. Others step back quickly, eyes wary. Illness spreads easily here, carried by foul water, by bites, by exhaustion. Another man groans, his face pale, his steps faltering. The caravan whispers uneasily. Survival is fragile, and sickness is a thief in the night. By noon the sun blazes again. Heat dries the pools, turning mud back to dust, but not before leaving its mark. Insects linger, buzzing, biting. The air smells sour, damp earth, mixing with sweat. Water skins are heavier from rain, yet caution is urged. Not all water is safe. Some pools, men say, carry death in their sweetness. The caravan halts briefly. Men sit heavily, cloaks spread to dry. Bread is chewed, soggy but eaten. Tea is brewed, its steam curling into air thick with flies. You sip slowly, bitterness soothing your throat. Around you, men tend wounds, scratching bites, binding sores, washing faces in shallow puddles. The smell of damp cloth lingers, sharp and sour. Stories rise faintly, softer than before. A merchant murmurs of Samarkand, where rains bring blossoms, not mud. Another of Cairo, where the Nile's flood feeds fields, not sickness. Their words feel like dreams, distant and fragile. The men listen, but silence soon returns. Fatigue is heavier than hope. Afternoon stretches, march slow and halting. Mud clings still. sand shifting beneath damp crust. Feet blister, sandals tear, bodies ache, voices are low, eyes hollow. Even the guards are quieter, their chants absent. The desert feels heavier than ever, pressing from every side. Then, a collapse. A man stumbles, falling hard into mud. His companions rush to him, lifting his arms, urging him forward. His face is pale, lips cracked, eyes glassy. He groans, shaking his head. A skin is pressed to his lips, but he coughs violently, spitting water back. Whispers spread. Sickness. Men step back, wary. Illness can fell more than hunger or thirst. The man is lifted onto a camel, his load abandoned. His companions walk beside him, eyes dark with worry. The line moves again, slower, heavier. Fear ripples quietly. Fear not of raiders, not of storms, but of something invisible, creeping. By evening, exhaustion is complete. Fires spark weakly, smoke thin and pale. Cloaks still damp, cling to weary bodies. Bread is chewed without words, tea brewed cautiously. Men sit in silence, swatting at insects, scratching bites raw. A merchant breaks the quiet with a small act. He passes his fig to the sick man's companion, pressing it into his hand. The man stares, surprised, then nods, eyes wet. He feeds it slowly to the invalid, whose lips tremble as he chews. Around the fire, men watch silently. The act is small, but it binds them. Stories rise faintly again. A pilgrim whispers of Mecca, of rain seen as blessing, cleansing stone and soul alike. His voice is steady, though his body trembles. Another man recalls Damascus, where streets flood with laughter as children splash in spring showers. The firelight flickers, shadows stretching. The words linger, fragile shields against despair. Night deepens. Stars blaze overhead, sharp and countless. Guards pace slowly, spears in hand, eyes scanning shadows. Camels groan. Bells chime faintly. Men lie down close, bodies pressed together for warmth still trapped in damp. You close your eyes, cloak clinging to your skin. Pain throbs, bites itch. Fear hums, yet within the circle of men, among acts of kindness, you feel a thread of strength. The desert takes much, but not all. Tomorrow, it will demand again. The desert always balances its gifts with cruelty. Days after the rain, thirst returns fiercer than before. The puddles are gone, the mud dried, the air once more a furnace of dust and light. Water skins grow lighter with every sip, collapsing inward like lungs exhaling their last. Men glance at them constantly, shaking, weighing, counting drops that will never be enough. Morning begins with silence heavy as stone. Bread is chewed without words, dates swallowed dry. Tea is brewed, but its bitterness cannot mask how little remains. Camels rise slowly, groaning, their tongues thick, their eyes dull. Bells chime hollowly as the march resumes. The sun climbs quickly, burning without mercy. Sweat dries before it can cool, leaving salt on lips, stinging eyes, thirst claws constantly, gnawing at throats, swelling tongues. Voices fade, replaced by the rasp of breath, the shuffle of feet. Even the guards are quiet, chants gone. The caravan moves like a ghost of itself. By mid-morning, the promise of relief stirs. The guides speak of a well ahead, one marked in memory, one passed by their fathers and their fathers before them. Hope spreads quickly, fragile but bright. Men lift their heads. Pace quickens. The thought of water sharpens every step. Hours stretch, sun burning, sand endless. At last the well appears, stones ringed in a hollow, its mouth dark. A shout rises, voices breaking with joy. Men rush forward, camels groaning, tongues lolling. The first bucket is lowered, rope creaking, hearts pound, eyes fixed. The bucket descends into darkness. Silence hangs. Then it is drawn upward, heavy with expectation. But it comes back dry. A murmur spreads, sharp, fearful. The bucket is lowered again, deeper, slower. The rope creaks, the pulley groans. Men lean forward, hands clenched, lips trembling. The bucket rises once more, empty. Silence crushes the caravan. A third attempt is made, then a fourth. Stones echo, rope scrapes, bucket clatters. Nothing. The well is dry. Voices break at once. Shouts, curses, cries. Some wail openly, others collapse to knees. A guard slams his spear against stone, sparks flying. A merchant tears his cloak in rage. Men shove one another, accusations flying. Who misremembered, who lied, who promised? Panic spreads like fire in dry grass. Camels groan, kneeling, their bodies shaking. One collapses, its legs folding, its breath ragged. It does not rise. Men pull frantically at ropes, shouting, but the beast lies still. Another loss to the desert. The leader raises his voice, sharp, commanding. He orders silence, calm, patience. But fear does not vanish easily. Men mutter still, eyes wild, hands trembling near blades. The thought of no water gnaws deeper than hunger, deeper than pain. Without water there is only death. At last the decision is made. The caravan must move on. Another well lies farther. The guides swear. Perhaps a day, perhaps two. It is the only hope. Men rise slowly, faces pale, bodies trembling. Loads are retied, ropes pulled tight. The line moves again, slower, heavier. The afternoon march is agony. Thirst burns constant. Blisters tear open. Shoulders ache. Lips bleed. Tongues swell. Eyes blur. Men stumble, fall, rise again. A few collapse completely, their bodies dragged upright by companions. Some whisper prayers, others curses. Hope flickers, fragile, nearly gone. The desert feels endless, merciless. Derns roll forward, ridges sharp, sand shimmering. Mirages appear, pools of water, palms swaying. Men lurch toward them before being pulled back. Some weep openly, tears dry before they fall. By evening, despair hangs heavy. Fires spark weakly. Smoke thin. Tea is brewed sparingly. Its bitterness sharp. Its portions smaller than ever. Bread is chewed without appetite. Dates swallowed dry. Men sit in silence. Cloaks wrapped tight. Eyes hollow. The air hums with hopelessness. Yet even here, kindness flickers. A man passes half his ration of water to another too weak to lift his skin. A merchant offers figs to a guard whose lips bleed. A pilgrim prays aloud, voice steady, words weaving hope where none remains. The firelight flickers across, faces tired but alive. Stories rise faintly, fragile. One man recalls Damascus. Fountains singing in gardens, water flowing endlessly. Another whispers of Cairo, where the Nile gleams under moonlight. Their voices tremble, eyes wet, but the words linger. Memory itself becomes sustenance. You lie down in cold sand, cloak wrapped tight. Pain throbs, thirst burns, fear hums, stars blaze overhead, countless, eternal, indifferent. Camels groan, bells chime faintly. Around you, men breathe shallowly, each heartbeat another prayer. The desert has taken much. It waits to take more. Tomorrow it will demand again. The desert breaks men with thirst, but it also binds them to hope. Morning rises heavy after the empty well. Men wake slowly, lips split, tongues swollen, cloaks stiff with dust. Fires are weak. Smoke is thin, and bread is chewed without appetite. Tea is brewed, but its bitterness cannot disguise the smallness of the portion. Water skins sag, their weight is almost nothing. Still they are strapped to packs, clutched in hands, symbols of survival though nearly dry. The march resumes, steps drag, shoulders stoop, eyes hollow. Camels sway heavily. their groans low, their tongues lolling, bells chime faint, brittle. The line moves forward not from strength but from refusal to stop. By mid-morning men whisper again of another well. The guides speak softly, steadying voices. They swear memory is clear. This one lies a day's march farther. Doubt lingers, but there is no other choice. Men lean into the promise, step by step. The sun climbs, heat merciless, sand shimmering, thirst gnaws constantly, sharper than hunger, sharper than pain. Lips bleed, throats rasp, eyes blur, voices vanish, replaced by groans, coughs, shallow breaths. One man stumbles, falling hard. Companions lift him, dragging his body upright. Another collapses, his pack discarded, his body trembling. He rises again, but slowly, like a man half buried already. By noon despair grows heavy. Some mutter that the guides are wrong again, that no well exists. Others insist the desert has shifted. Erased paths, swallowed memory. Arguments spark, sharp words exchanged, blades briefly flashing. The leader raises his voice, commanding silence. The caravan must remain one, or it will vanish. Afternoon stretches endlessly. Steps blur, rhythm of pain and thirst. Yet at last a cry rises from the front. A shape appears on horizon. Stones, ringed in circle, darker against sand. A well. The word spreads like fire. Voices break into shouts, laughter, sobs. Men quicken their pace, stumbling faster, hope burning brighter than pain. The first bucket descends, rope creaking, pulley groaning, silence hangs, hearts pounding. Then it rises, heavy, dripping, full. Water splashes into sunlight, shining like treasure. A roar erupts, laughter, cries, prayers. Men surge forward, restrained only by guards. The water is poured into skins, hands, mouths. Faces are soaked, lips pressed to buckets, tongues drinking greedily. Relief floods every body, stronger than any feast. You kneel, cupping hands as water pours across your palms. It is cool, sweet, alive. You drink deeply, more than a mouthful, more than a swallow. It floods your throat, your chest, your belly. You gasp, then drink again, trembling. The taste is overwhelming, the gift absolute. Tears sting your eyes, mingling with drops. For a moment you feel reborn. Camels drink greedily, their groans easing, their tongues lapping noisily. Children laugh, splashing water across faces, rolling in damp sand. Men shout prayers, voices breaking with gratitude. Some fall to knees, bowing, whispering thanks to God. Others sing, their voices cracked but jubilant. The air hums with joy, relief, reverence. Yet even in joy, caution lingers. The leader orders rationing, guards controlling the flow. Skins must be filled, beasts watered, but not wasted. The well is deep, but not endless. The desert has swallowed others before. Men obey reluctantly, still drinking greedily, but slower, steadier. The water is life, but life must be stretched. By evening, the camp is alive. Fires blaze brighter, smoke curling high. Bread is chewed with appetite, tea brewed richly. Men laugh, voices loud for the first time in days. Stories rise of Baghdad's gardens, Cairo's fountains, Samarkand's domes. The names gleam bright as stars. Hands gesture, faces animate. Hope is alive again. A merchant tells of Aleppo, its markets filled with water sellers, their cries echoing through alleys. Another recalls Damascus, where aqueducts carry streams across stone. A pilgrim murmurs of Mecca, where water is holy, flowing in endless gift. Their words are rich, their voices strong. Around the fire, men smile, eyes bright. Yet beneath joy, truth lingers. This well is only a step. The desert is not ended, the march not complete. 60 days stretch long, and this is but one. Men know it, Feel it, whisper it in quiet moments. Joy is real, but tempered. Night deepens, stars blaze, countless, eternal. Camels groan, bells chime softly. Men lie down close, bodies heavy but lighter with relief. The sand is cool, damp near the well, strange beneath your cloak. You close your eyes, water still sweet on your lips. The desert has spared you for now. Tomorrow it will demand again. The desert is never conquered. It is only endured. Weeks have passed since you first stepped beyond the city gates, since the bells rang bright and loads were tied carefully beneath rising towers of stone. Now, as the caravan nears its end, you walk as someone different. Your body is scarred with blisters healed and reopened, your shoulders hollowed by endless weight, your lips hardened by thirst, yet your eyes see further now. You are alive, and that alone is victory. The march feels quieter in these last days. Men move slower, but with steadier rhythm, their bodies tempered by survival. The caravan has lost many, some to sickness, some to storms, some to silence itself. Empty spaces mark where companions once walked. Bells that once rang bright are gone, buried with beasts beneath dunes. Yet those who remain carry their memory forward, step by step. Morning begins with ritual familiar yet fragile. Bread is broken, tea brewed, water measured. Men chew in silence, voices low, eyes fixed on horizon. The guards still pace, spears steady though their shoulders sag. The leader speaks calmly, reminding all that markets lie near now, that walls of safety rise not far ahead. Hope stirs, fragile but present. The desert, though, does not grant an easy farewell. Heat still burns, sand still shifts, mirages still taunt, bodies still ache, feet still bleed. A man stumbles, collapsing into dust. Companions lift him, urging him forward. He rises, trembling, moving once more. Survival is not comfort, it is motion. By midday, the horizon begins to change. The endless dunes break, giving way to ridges dotted with scrub. The air smells faintly different. Less of dust, more of earth. Men lift their heads, blinking. Camels groan, their steps quicker. Voices rise faintly, whispers spreading, the end is near. Yet memory lingers heavier than hope. You recall storms that swallowed sky, winds that cut skin raw. You recall nights when hoofbeats haunted, shadows moving at the edges. You recall hunger so sharp it hollowed your chest, thirst so fierce it cracked your lips to blood. You recall kindness too, hands steadying you, water shared, figs broken in half. You recall laughter, rare but bright, when men joked despite despair. Survival was never alone, it was always together. The caravan halts briefly. Men sit, cloaks wrapped tight, bread chewed, tea sipped. Conversation rises, voices softer now. One merchant speaks of markets waiting, of coins exchanged, of spices worth fortunes. Another speaks of families, of children, of embraces long imagined. A pilgrim murmurs of shrines, prayers ready on lips. The words ripple like music, carrying all forward. Afternoon stretches long, but the horizon shifts again. Shapes rise faintly, towers, walls, domes glimmering against light. A murmur spreads, louder this time. The end is real. The caravan quickens though bodies ache, though blisters burn. Each step carries weight, yet also relief. By dusk the walls are visible, stone rising from sand, gates standing wide. Smoke drifts upward, faint smell of bread carried on wind. The sound of bells different. Now not from camels but from markets within. Men laugh, voices trembling, eyes wet. Some weep openly, their tears drying instantly in desert air. The gates loom closer. Guards stand watch, their spears gleaming, their faces curious. The caravan approaches, bells chiming, camels swaying, men moving as shadows of themselves. Yet their eyes are bright, their steps steady. They have survived. Within the walls lies shade, water, bread, markets alive with voices. Within lies rest, safety, memory. The caravan will unload, goods exchanged, coins counted, merchants will profit, pilgrims will pray, guards will drink, stories will be told of storms and raiders, of kindness and survival, of 60 days endured. Some will laugh, some will weep, some will forget, but you will remember. For the desert does not leave you. It lingers in skin hardened, in scars etched, in dreams shaped by wind and silence. It whispers in your ear even as you drink deeply, even as you lie on soft beds, even as laughter fills the air. The desert remains, eternal, endless, indifferent. And yet you endured it. The gates have closed behind you, and the desert fades to memory. No sand stings your eyes, no thirst claws at your throat. The bells are quiet, the camels at rest. Around you voices rise, not in fear but in laughter, in the simple rhythm of markets alive with life. You feel water in your hands, cool and sweet. You drink slowly, without ration, without fear of it running dry. It fills you, soft and steady, spreading warmth through every part of you. Bread is fresh, figs ripe, tea brewed rich and fragrant. You chew without haste, tasting fully, as though every bite is a small miracle. The air is softer here, shaded by walls, touched by breeze. No storm presses, no hoofbeats haunt. You breathe deeply, chest loosening, shoulders easing. Around you men who once groaned and wept now smile faintly, their faces lit by survival. Some embrace, some pray, some sit in silence. All carry the same truth. You endured together. The desert is behind you. Its winds may linger in dreams, its silence echo in memory, but it cannot touch you now. You lie down not on sand but on cloth, not beneath stars but beneath roof. The night hums with safety, warmth, stillness. Let yourself rest. Let your breath slow, in and out, softer with each passing moment. The journey is complete. The world fades gently, carrying you not across dunes but into sleep. You're safe now. The desert is far away. Only comfort remains. Sweet dreams.